On 7-20-2026, Ohio's most clearly documented state-level actions in the provided results were judicial announcements from the Ohio Supreme Court, executive branch grant and budget-related actions involving Governor Mike DeWine, and a Department of Education update. The results do not show a full official calendar of every Ohio government action for that date, so this report is comprehensive only to the extent supported by the sources provided. 1-2-3-6-10-12 Major Government Actions. The Ohio Supreme Court released official versions of 12 opinions that had previously been issued as slip opinions, and in White v. Winkler, the court ordered the respondent to file a response by 9 a.m. on Wednesday, July 22, to the relator's emergency motion for expedited alternative writs. 1. Governor Mike DeWine and Ohio Department of Development Director Lydia Mihalik announced $11.9 million in grants for 73 counties to prepare redevelopment sites by demolishing unsafe, blighted buildings. 2. Ohio's capital budget implementation was active around this date. Ohio Government Communications reported that DeWine had signed Senate Bill 450, the state's biennial capital appropriations budget, which allocates nearly $4 billion for state-owned infrastructure, including colleges, universities, school districts, and other community projects. 6. Legislative and policy activity. The Ohio Supreme Court's July 20 archive indicates that the court was publishing final official versions of administrative rule amendments that had been adopted on May 19, 2026, effective July 1, 2026, and to be published in the July 20 Ohio Official Reports Advance Sheet. 5. Ohio Department of Education and Workforce posted an EMIS notice titled Districts and Schools Final Correction Opportunities, July 20, 2026, announcing F26 final correction opportunities for final calendar and final staff and course data. 3. A State House news item published later in the week said Gov. DeWine had signed HB 455, the Education Omnibus Bill, into law, and that the measure affects State Board of Education appointments, age and schooling certificate requirements, work hour rules for minors under 16, and repeal of obsolete education statutes, with an effective date of October 9, 2026. Because this source is a later weekly roundup, it supports the existence of the action, but not necessarily that the signing occurred on July 20 specifically. 10. Enforcement, regulatory and administrative actions. The Supreme Court's July 20 docket action in White v. Winkler is a judicial enforcement-related proceeding, with a deadline for a response set for July 22. 1. The administrative rule publication referenced by the Ohio Supreme Court confirms that superintendent's rule amendments were finalized and placed into the official report cycle on July 20. 5. The Department of Education and Workforce's EMIS correction notice is an administrative compliance action affecting district and school reporting processes. 3. Public events and official appearances. Ohio Government Communications also noted that LT Governor Jim Tressel and Ohio Department of Children and Youth Director Cara went joined participants at the Columbus All-Pro Dad Experience at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, describing it as part of Ohio's growing partnership with All-Pro Dad. The bulletin frames this as a This Week event rather than a precisely dated July 20 event. 6. Ohio State House-related news posted later announced a Capitol Square review and advisory board meeting for July 23, not July 20, so it does not add a July 20 event but shows that official board activity was scheduled that week. 9. Key details by agency. Ohio Supreme Court issued 12 official opinions and took action in White v. Winkler. 1. Office of the Governor/Department of Development announced $11.9 million in demolition and site prep grants for 73 counties. 2. Department of Education and Workforce opened final correction opportunities for F26 EMIS calendar and staff/course data. 3. Supreme Court of Ohio/Rules Administration finalized and published administrative rule amendments effective July 1, with publication in the July 20 advance sheet. 5. Governor DeWine's office/capital budget implementation. State Communications highlighted Senate Bill 450's nearly $4 billion capital appropriations package. 6. What the record does not clearly show. The supplied results do not provide a full statewide log of every Ohio executive order, agency enforcement action, agency hearing, legislative committee meeting, or municipal action on July 20, 2026. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10. Some items in the results are clearly dated to July 20, while others are this week, summaries or later recaps that likely include July 20 activity, but do not isolate that date with certainty. 2, 6, 10, 12.